So I thought I would show in more detail how to make a post in Padlet because I think there's still quite a bit of confusion about how to manipulate the items that you see on the screen in Padlet. Maybe that's a new sort of thing for you. So first, before I start in Padlet, I'm just going to review how you find your colorful group in a discussion post or a Padlet. Here in Cougar View, I'm on the course homepage. And I look under announcements is the easy way to find it. And if you scroll down and you say, well, there's not any announcement there that shows my colorful small group, go under show all announcements because sometimes those announcements there's enough of them that it gets pushed to the back, especially if you've already dismissed that announcement. You've looked at it one time, but you didn't hang on to it. And if we scroll down, you eventually will see something that looks like discussion group assignments or colorful small group. And here are people's names listed in their colorful small group. So that means that this is the group that you should post in and respond to. Now, if your colorful small group doesn't all post, you say, oh, there weren't enough people to respond to in my colorful small group. How will I get all my responses done? You can always respond in another group, but let's try and post in our colorful small groups. Okay, so let's say that I'm going to be, I'm imagining that my name is in the red group. And I'm going to click onto the Padlet, and I'll do that at the end of this video. But let's jump right into Padlet itself. Let's assume we're on a particular Padlet. In this case, I'm looking at the Middle Ages topic report from the 1155 class. They had to make a short post. Now, how do you know what to do in Padlet? Look at what I've put on the Padlet canvas. I give you the instructions for the assignment. A small writing. Your goal is to do some surface level research. The topics you've already chosen from are blah, blah, blah. Find your colorful group on this canvas and link a post that contains your writing. So people in this class already had written a paragraph researching one of these topics of medieval times. They're going to post something and then comment on 2 other posts, and you can lurk on other groups to see more about the topics. That's why I like to do Padlet, because you can sort of listen in to what other groups are doing. Now, how do you do this? Well, first of all, have you looked at the instructions that I've put here, how to navigate? You can comment outside your group if there are not enough posts in your group. Okay? To comment, click on the little chat, or to comment on posts, okay? To connect your post, how to move posts around. So I'm going to go ahead and create a post and sort of start from scratch. So how do I create a post? There are 2 ways. I could just double click anywhere on the blank canvas, and I just double clicked and opened up this window to post in. How else could I do it? I could click on this little pink plus icon, and I can post right there. If you notice on the little info window that pops up when I hover over this icon, it also says drag files in, paste from clipboard, or click here. So if I had my browser window open, or my Finder window here, and I were to take a file and I would drop it in to create a new post. I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna get rid of it. It would actually create a Padlet as well. So if you've created a document in another application and you want to drop it in, it probably has to be a Word document or a PDF or Pages or something, a recognizable format that it would know. You can just drop it in. But for this, so you could have taken your medieval paragraph from the Word document and just dropped the file right in here, and it would say Word document, and it would have your name on it because you were the one dropping it in. Let's do this the old-fashioned way, though. I'm going to click on this edit button, and here's my medieval topic, food. Okay, then I'm going to writing. Do that. Okay, so I could write more about that topic. You can see that you can link in, upload a file, and it will link in here. You could upload an image, you could put in a URL, and it will be an active link. You can even search in here if you're like, oh, I wish I had a picture of a jar of cinnamon. You could get onto the, I think this will search the internet, but it'll also search your files. And there's more ways to attach other things. So you can really make these posts quite useful and interactive and attractive. So, I mean, you could even put like a Prezi slideshow linked in here and things like that. So that's kind of cool. So let's say I'm done with this one, and I said I was in the red group, so I'm just going to make this red because that will look like my group. You don't have to do that. As the professor, I often go through and re-tint everybody's posts to match so I don't get lost. Okay, so I'm going to make it red. It doesn't look red right now, but I'm going to click Publish. Now, when I click Publish, the question is, where does it go? Well, I'm going to do it. Here I go. Oh my gosh, it's all the way down at the bottom left corner of the whole canvas. It's much lower down than anybody else's post. Oh no, I need to post in the red group. The red group, if I scroll around the canvas, is all the way at the top right. How do I get there from where my post ended up? Hang on, it's not so bad. Now this is where it is easier to do this, I think, on a larger screen so that you can see better than on your phone. So if you're using it on a phone, that's great. Maybe turn the phone sideways so you have a wider field. I'm clicking on this and notice it made the little grabby hand, and I can drag this post around. And I'm going to drag it all over the canvas. I'm going to get myself a little more room and drag. And in fact, if I just keep kind of dragging in the direction I want to go, it slowly moves the canvas around. It doesn't like that as much. I mean, for me, that's a little bit slow and bulky. So I usually scroll over and then drag. Okay, so there are my red posts, and I can even put it closer. This one I have room. So here's the hub for the red group. And notice again, I dragged it around. I could drag other people's posts around too. I think you can do that as well as your own posts. I think you could move other people's posts around. Maybe don't do that unless you have a real good reason for it. And then I want to connect to the hub like these people have done so I can show that I've connected, and it's kind of fun and it looks cool and organized. So it says connect to a post. Oh my gosh, I could connect to anyone's, and I can even make a label if I want to. And now my post is connected. Now what if I accidentally connected to the wrong post? Disconnect from a post. Pick a connector to remove from. Oops. Why is it not showing that? I'm going to cancel it for now. I know why. Because the label is in the way of the... Alrighty. Huh, isn't that weird? All right, maybe I didn't do that correctly. Well, anyway, usually you can disconnect. It puts a little red X up, and you can disconnect from there. Okay, so I've posted. Now, what if you have a long post? Like here's Martina's post. It's really long, and when she initially posted it, it looked like this. It posted in a very narrow space, and it was very, very long. That's fine. You can resize it. When I hover over the edge of the canvas, the right edge or the bottom edge, right or bottom, I have a little arrow and I can drag it to make it wider. I think, oh, I won't get a longer one. So it's only the right edge. So I can make it wider, which makes it shorter, right? The words move up, the wider it gets. Or if you're just like, no, I want it long and skinny. I don't know why you would want it long and skinny because it's kind of harder to read. You can pinch it back. So you can expand it and you can pinch it. So that's kind of helpful. I did that with several of your posts on this one just to get them a little bit more grouped around the hub and a little easier to read. Now, how do we comment? That depends a little bit on which Padlet template I'm using. In this case, how do I comment on this canvas? So let's say that I need to comment on 2 posts. Remember it said that in the directions over here? It said comment on 2 other posts. Okay, so I'm in the read group and I've read other posts and I need to comment and say anything about them. So for example, I read Martina's post on daily life, and this is a lot of hard work the peasants are doing, and so that's pretty neat. Peasants really all right, and I'm going to, I can either hit return or I can hit this red arrow and it will add the comment. Now, in this one, the comments are in this separate window, and so I see the original post in this window, and I see everybody who's commented on this as well. Okay, to get rid of that window and go back to the main canvas, just close with this X on the top left. And now, my comment and Celia's comment are on Martina's post. Okay, again, if your group doesn't have as many posts as it should, for example, in the yellow group here, Bailey was the only person posting. And so how is Bailey going to comment on other people's posts? Bailey would have to, at this point, go into other groups and comment there because there's not enough. But we see that people from other groups did comment on Bailey's post, which is really great. Well done, everybody. Now, what about a different template? Let's look at a different template. For example, instead of having a very wandery canvas, we might have a canvas like this that is in a sort of a stacked formation, and it's going to it needs to render here. There you go. Again, this canvas is, you post in it by clicking on the pink arrow, or if you were to click anywhere where you see a brick available, it will post. And I'll do that in just a second. Looking at the top posts that I made, how to post, how the posts show up, what to do, your first post in Padlet. This was the getting started post for the music appreciation class. Explain what music is, then add another sentence. In this case, we didn't ask for comments, but if I had, we'll be able to see how to do that. So in this case, we didn't post in colorful small groups, but we do see that I was able to add a URL for a YouTube video, which then will play right here in this window. It's really tiny, so I'm not sure that's the best way to play it. I can expand it to full screen, which is probably better. Comments, people were able to give little like hearts to this, but I'm going to practice adding a comment to my own post. I can add comments. And in this template, the comments, I hit return, and there's my post. The comments are visible from this without having to go into a separate chat window. So the comments are visible right here. It just depends on which template I've chosen. When I add a post in this template, it's going to appear at the bottom and left of the all the choices. Here I am gesturing in my office as if you can see my hands, which you can't. Here's a practice post. I'm showing how to post in Padlet. And I want it to be blue. Okay, publish. Oh my gosh, where is it? Where is my post? Go down, it's gonna be way down here on the bottom layer. This one puts all the new posts at the bottom. And here's my post there, okay? So, there we go. In fact, okay, well, I'm gonna save a comment for Geneva for another time. Let's see, what else can I show you in Padlet? We've got, here's another one that we haven't done yet, and that's a good thing to show you. So here's a different template. In here, we have all of the colorful groups listed out, and some of you are in classes with many, many colorful groups, so there's more to scroll to the right. So I'm scrolling to the right and left. If you can see down here, the scroll bar is going right and left. I'm using my mouse pad, my trackpad, to scroll. Okay, I can also scroll up and down, and in this case, I scroll down within each column. So it's going to show you the top of every column but I can scroll down within a column. So here's how to, the instructions. Here are some suggestions about how to manage this assignment. Here are some examples. They have to write an epigram, and so I'm giving several examples of ones that are good. They have to write satire, and so how to write good satire, how to not write good satire. So I've given several examples there, and people comment on other posts in your group. Hit return, and there's my comment. So when people are in the red group, they can add a post by clicking a little plus sign under each of their colorful groups. So this is maybe the most organized one of the templates that I can use. And so you'll see all our posts posted in a row. Do I have one handy? No, I don't have one that's already done because we're at the beginning of the semester. So that's how to post in Padlet. Now, what I will do is I will go through and look at everybody's posts, for example here, and I will mark down in the gradebook that you posted. And if I have to make any notes about your post, was it maybe the wrong assignment or was it the correct assignment, things like that. And then I will also post in comments how many whose comments you made. So for example, here's Taryn's post, aha. So Taryn posted her post as a comment, and so I'm going to fix that in a minute. I'm going to make it into a proper post. So I record your post, and I also record whether you've commented or not. So if an assignment like this is worth, say, 50 points, and you get 30 points, it probably means that you didn't comment on anybody's post. Or if you got 40 out of 50, it meant I saw one comment, but not two. So pay attention to that, and this is how you get in and do the Padlets. Now, how do you access these Padlets? Let's go back into Cougar View. So here we are. Again, this might not be your class. This is the Western Intellectual Tradition class, 1155. And they have to do not only a little writing assignment that they turn in assignments, but it says Middle Ages Padlet post for Module 1. If I click on this, it's a page in Cougar View. It tells the exact instructions that I already told them in the writing assignment one. But then here is a link to take them right to the Padlet that I was just in. And, oh look, here is the embedded Padlet. This is what we were just looking at. Remember we saw Bailey's post all by itself in the yellow group, and we saw Taryn's comments here. Yep, there they are. So you can get to this post. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. How silly to sneeze on a video. I don't know what I'm going to do about that. I might edit it out. I might not have time. So you can get right to the Padlet here in Cougar View. Now the font size is bigger. Everything is sort of zoomed in quite a bit here. It means you have to scroll around more. So I've got to scroll. Where was that red group? It was all the way over at the top. So I'm using my trackpad or my mouse to scroll. I can scroll using the scrolling bars on the sides of the window if I want to see. But the posting mechanism works the same. Now, if you say, oh my gosh, I don't know how to get to that. I don't know, it didn't work. Well, hey, don't panic. There's always another active URL here in Padlet that you could click on. It will open Padlet up in a separate window. Here we are. There we go. We're exactly on the same Padlet window that I opened up my own self because I'm the boss and I can do that. Okay, so notice the window on my laptop here is bigger, so I can see more of the screen more easily. It means that it's not as zoomed in. Could you zoom in? Sure, you can zoom in. It's got a zoom function. I like it like this because I can sort of get around to all the posts better. So I hope that helps you figure out how to post in Padlet a little bit better, and how to just maneuver and use Padlet. I get the impression that maybe you guys aren't used to this kind of interactive visual field to post in and maneuver in, so I really encourage you to dive in and make sure you don't forget about Padlet assignments as they come up for whichever class you're in. Speaking of, how do you know if there's a Padlet due? There might not be one due every week. I'll just take this little opportunity at the very end here to remind you that each module or chapter of our course has an organizer. And if you click on the organizer, it tells you learning activities to complete, and it would tell you if you have a Padlet, or maybe you don't this week. But now you know how to use Padlet when you have one.